Hello, hello, and welcome to the Journal Star Sportswriters podcast. I'm your host, Adam Duvall, joined always by small school football beat writer Stan Morris, sports editor Wes Huett. This week we recap the opening round of the playoffs and look ahead to week 2. First game on the docket for us, Washington 35, New Lenox Providence 0. Panthers pitch a shutout. Has that surprised you at all?
Yeah, I was wrong first.
I was wrong.
Everybody
I was right. I was right. I don't know what you guys are thinking, but I had it.
Yeah, that was shocking. Washington's really good, I think. It's funny. We've talked about it a lot. Daryl's MO is sort of they do what it takes to win, and he's never going to embarrass teams. Not that they can embarrass Providence, but I'm talking about throughout the year when they have an opponent that they've overmatched. Mm-hmm. You're never going to sort of see the true monster,
right?
65-0 type games that they could probably beat a team like East Peoria or Limestones or the Cantons if they wanted to. Mm-hmm. But they don't want to. I mean, they're the conference mates. You get your sophomore some time. You get the backup some time. Level it out. It's 42-0, 42-6, and you get out of there and you're thinking, okay, do they have a gear? They have a gear.
Right.
And I'm not even sure they showed it against Providence.
Well, I mean, I'll go back to the Pat Ryan quote, the toolbox.
Right.
I mean, you got a lot of good balance from Caleb Fisher. 111 passing, 92 rushing. Sam Walter had 80 rushing, 46 receiving. I mean, it's just balance that.
Their defensive line is monstrous. Their line. Their guys are strong and fast and just control things. And I think Daryl said it 6 minutes in, they started to say, okay, we can actually play these guys.
Right.
I think that. Again, I won't pick against Washington again. They might play the Patriots for the 6A title. I'll be like, I gotta get the Panthers in this one, but I won't pick against them this week. But yeah, impressive performance.
Very impressive. And another team with an impressive performance. Stan, you saw them on Friday night. Princeville 35, Polo 7. Kind of the typical Prince's defense, give up 187 yards and only 7 points.
Right, yeah, and those 7 points, again, were with just a few minutes left to go in the game, really. No factor in the game. They were pretty much shut that team out. Princeville was just able to, again, do what they do, run the ball really well. And they actually struggled a bit with, had some penalties and had some things that, and even had a couple turnovers. So it was like we didn't play really all that great, but we still win 35-7.
Yeah.
So you still feel pretty good about that. Sure. That you can kind of clean up those kind of things.
Right.
But the defense is still really dominant all game. And
we pinpointed these two teams, Washington and Princeville, early in the year when they're kind of just controlling teams. Let's finally start to see these teams in the postseason and get some decent opponents. And I think we're starting to see that. They're starting to,
now that defense is going to get a good test this weekend.
Yeah.
So
we'll talk about them facing Aurora Christian in a little bit. Yeah. Saturday evening, Joliet Catholic 49, Metamora 20. Redbirds made it a 14-7 game and gave up 401 yards. Thomas Hall goes down in the third quarter.
Yeah.
Wes.
It's tough.
And anytime you lose a guy of that caliber, that's tough.
Yeah, and it really couldn't get the run game going too, which you gotta have. I think to a team like JCA. Again, I was wrong about that one too. That JCA team is a little tougher than I imagined. They came into Malone and kind of controlled things. Again, like I said, you lose Hall. That's huge. It looks like they tried a couple other options at quarterback, trying to get something going. And once you're behind the 8 ball against a team that runs the ball as well as JCA does, it's tough.
Nice Saturday afternoon game in Eureka, Stan.
Yeah, the community has obviously been really supportive of them, and everybody was out there. They had really a lot of energy in the place there that day, and they just from the start. I mean, it was just really no contest. I mean, Eureka just was able to do really whatever they wanted to do. Go down, score a quick touchdown right off the bat, and just Matt Martin kind of showed his versatility with the running and passing game. And so, and the defense was pretty impressive too. They just really shut that team down to even minus yardage in that second quarter, and they only had 19 yards at halftime. And so, the Englewood coach was talking about how disciplined the Eureka's team was, and they were. And, They continue to really be impressive. I mean, you're talking about a team that's now 9-1, and they won, 7 games in a row. Just got really the things are really flowing well for them.
And I think we touched on those public league teams. You just kind of
you never know what you're going to get with them.
You don't.
Like you look at a team like against was it 5 or 4A, 4 or 5A. Peyton 9-0 hosted Evergreen Park this week and get beat by like 30. So Evergreen Park's a 5-4 South suburban team that really not like crazy.
Right.
Actually, it's my wife's alma mater is the reason I sort of pay attention to that game. And it's a mixed bag with the public league. So it's like sometimes the teams like the Simeons of the world are great teams, and then they all kind of play each other, so they don't really step outside their own little circle.
You don't really know for sure how.
Yeah. Right. I mean, it wouldn't have surprised me if Englewood had come in and beat Eureka too.
Yeah.
Like, you just don't know how good those teams are.
And they had some athletes too. I mean, they had a few athletes. They had their best running back tore his ACL a couple weeks ago, so that didn't help them. But I don't think that would have made a difference in the outcome either.
Yeah, right.
But
I mean, and to your point, a team like Leroy goes up to Chicago Ore and loses.
Right.
So I mean, you don't know.
You don't.
It's just kind of a flip of the coin. Stan, we'll stay on the small school ranks. Greenville 28, Farmington 14. It's 14-14 game. Go ahead. Touchdown in the third quarter. We following this game a little bit. I know you were covering the Eureka game. I
didn't get a chance. I was pretty surprised about it. Seeing what Hayden brought with 6 interceptions there. That certainly hasn't been something that has been a part of their. He hasn't even had 6 interceptions, I don't think, all year. Wow. One of the things that about that game, Brott, I guess, had been hampered with a hamstring injury pretty much the entire year. They kind of held that kind of back because he hadn't been running the ball very much, and that's the reason why. And they were hoping, they kind of rested him a little bit through some games as far as the running, and they was hoping that he could be able to run, and he just kind of aggravated again a little bit in this game running the ball. So it kind of all they could do really is pass, and they kind of forced him to do that. They kind of put 7 guys on the line there and said, okay, you got to go up top to beat us, and they've been able to do that to teams, other teams in the Prairie Land, but against a Greenville team that's had probably a little bit better competition, play 3A, 4A type schedule. Right. So it just didn't happen that day, and sometimes that happens. It just doesn't happen that day. But still, you're talking 3 consecutive regular seasons where they've gone unbeaten. It's been a great run for them, but surprised to see it end like that. But even then, that's 14-14 game. So they were still had a chance. Yeah, I mean, they go up in the third quarter, and Farmington has a lot of chances, and it even seemed like they kind of bottled up Dash 79 yards rushing, and that's kind of he can usually kind of break free and run wild.
Speaking not specifically about this game necessarily, but those turnover type things they tend to snowball. I mean, you make one mistake, and they're high school teenage kids. I mean, you start making mistakes, and then you start thinking about not making mistakes, and that forces you to make more mistakes. And
you kind of start forcing things. And that happened to Dylan Hayden a few years ago. I mean, he threw for more yards than anybody has ever thrown in the area for Farmington's quarterback a couple of years ago. He threw 4 interceptions against Wilmington in the playoffs. And And I was in Elmwood
Princeton 39, Elmwood Brimfield 12. Rondé Worrells, he's a sophomore running back, big kid. I mean, I'm 6'4", and I looked up to him after the game.
Wow.
I mean, he's a big boy, and he just first touch of the game, 47 yards for a touchdown, and he's just bruising back. And they have great balance. I mean, we were talking before we went on the air about Princeton's receiving corps. Beck Robbins, their quarterback, threw 240. You know, Peyton Moore and Connor Dickens both had over 100 yards receiving. And the story of the game was Princeton's defense. They allowed 180 yards, and Luke Wyatt had 11 yards all in the first half. And,
wow.
Charlie McKenty was forced to pass the ball, and I'm not sure if he threw 16 passes the first
not too
night.
often.
Yeah. So
yeah.
that definitely took Elmwood out of their game. Some other Metro scores of interest: Taylorville, number 1 seed, 57, IVC 30. The Ghosts were up 7-6 early and then gave up 29 unanswered. Yep. Taylorville rolled up 557 yards. Normal West 34, Notre Dame 21. That was a rematch of week 1. The Irish cut it to 13-7, but too much Normal West on the ground. 253 yards by Davion McQuarter. Notre Dame had 294. Logan Cover had 132. MacArthur 41. Morton 20. Lowest point total all season for the Potters. Wes, when you saw this score or following on Twitter or whatever, was that I hate to use surprising again, but what did you think when you saw that?
I wasn't hugely surprised. I honestly, Morton's given up quite a bit this week. It's just a matter of whether or not they can score with somebody, and obviously they couldn't. But sounds like Decatur's defense is pretty stout. They got Morton got some stuff late,
right?
And had to get a couple onside kicks to get back in the game. Again, it's on the road. That's tough, especially a team like I don't think MacArthur had played a home playoff game in a while, so the fan base is excited, and Morton had been one of those teams where they almost need to win shootouts to kind of to succeed, and they weren't able to slow down MacArthur. I think they had a nice quarterback receiver combo going that Morton really couldn't stop, and combo that with the nice defensive effort, and really sort of behind the 8 ball all day.
Some other area scores: Aurora Christian beat Anawan Withersfield 26-20. Lena Winslow 64, Lewistown 14, Chicago Hope 38, Knoxville 16. Another one of those public league schools.
That's a good team.
That's a good one. Yeah.
That one we kind of knew. They would. I think they play mostly 3 and 4A competition, if not higher, and. Yeah,
same quarterback who threw for over 500 yards against DMAC, if you remember, a couple of years when that 91-70 game. He was a freshman that year and threw for over 500 yards as a freshman. Now he's junior now, and it's kind of a sought-after quarterback too.
Yeah, 91-70 game. I think DMAC basketball team, like a couple weeks later, just couldn't hit those point totals.
Illini West beat Ledo Mercer County 50-26. That's a nice matchup of some traditional small school.
Definitely a lot of state championships among.
That's right.
Among those two, yeah.
Poplar's
almost 400 yards rushing in that game. So they do what they do.
Especially if you consider Illini West as sort of the combo of the Northwestern La Harpe kids are in there too, and that program has its own tradition as well. So
right.
Poplar Grove 48, Mid-County 7, Hall 54, Chicago Clark 8. We had 3 pretty close calls. Let's start in 6A. Yorkville 28, Dunlap 21. Yorkville go-ahead touchdown with 157. And then Dunlap has a pick. They had no points after the halftime and 138 total yards after the break. I just think that the Eagles were missing Luke Benioff. I mean, they were relying on Miles Burke.
Right.
Is great, but they needed that complement.
Yeah, and And things too, I think they lost so much. I mean, we focus a lot on their offense, but losing Benioff and Mangieri on defense, those guys are playmakers. And when things aren't going well, they get a turnover, get a strip, big stop, big play, and they played decent defense all season, but they just doesn't have that sort of that X factor that they needed. And Mieman's a great athlete, but if you can't get him the ball, there's not much you can do. And then you got to get a run game going, which of course, like you mentioned with Benioff not having that. And
right.
So they're a good team, but it's just one of those situations where you roll into 6-3, right? So they had a tough matchup in the first round, have to go on the road.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just I certainly could have seen them winning this game. It's just a lot of those little, like we said before, those X factors, those little missing the playmakers to win games like this.
Stan, on your small school side, we had 2 games. Orion came back to beat Fieldcrest, and Monroe's rallied and knocked off Wilmington. Either of those games stick out? Anything from those stick out to you?
Fieldcrest, nice performance for them. I mean, having the lead right there till the very end. What Orion scores with 9 seconds left to go, as you say. Orion was kind of showing the effects of not having Logan Lee. Logan Lee's their all-everything guy who was going to Iowa. He got a knee injury a few weeks back, and so that's kind of hurt them. They've had a great year to this point, but that may have made things a little bit closer. But Fieldcrest, again, showed they were a team again with a lot of seniors and a veteran line and that kind of thing, and they played right with them. So good to see that. And yeah, with Monmouth Roseville, kind of a surprise, I guess you would think, with Wilmington, with the tradition that they've had over the years. But Monmouth Roseville, another team with seniors with a huge line, and they've got a real Jamani Skinner is a track kid. He's a kid that was a state medalist in triple jump, long jump, and a really good hurdler too. So really good athlete. Right. He goes a 90-yard touchdown, to put them up in that game. They were down 10-0 in that game, and come back. So good win for them. And
that Monmouth Roseville team's coached by Jeremy Adolphson. He's been around a while, and I remember covering him back. He was at Allwood Rova, which is now Mid-County, and then he was at Taylor Rockridge before that, I believe, doing some good stuff. I mean, he always plays tough defense, runs the ball, puts kids in the right spots, has playmaker. He just seems like one of those good, solid coaches that when he gets to the playoffs, despite the record sort of isn't relevant, he's going to bring. He game plans well, matches people up well, and I think Eureka's going to have their hands full.
They are going to have their hands full, yeah.
We can talk about that in a minute, but yeah.
Okay, on to our next segment is just one thing, stat, quote, note, anything from the opening round that stood out to you. Stan, let's start with you.
I'm going to go with the leg of Sam Harshberger from Princeville, actually.
Oh, nice.
Talk about a good weapon for them to have. I mean, at one of the points in that game, they had 2 false starts for an extra point. So it backed him up twice. So he's kicking the extra point from the 20. And he had 10, 15 yards to spare with booting that thing. Cool. He's got a really good leg. He's 42 of 45, I think, on extra points. He has tried a couple field goals in the regular season, but in games where, Princeville already had a pretty good lead or whatever. And so it's a potential weapon for them coming. You're going to need something like that when you get a drive that stalls on the 15-yard line and you're facing 4th and 8 or whatever.
Right.
And that could be a huge weapon.
Yeah.
Wes, how about you? Just one thing?
Well, number 13.7, that's the average margin of victory, or margin of defeat, in Providence's. They've only lost 25 playoff games before Friday, and their average margin of loss is only 13.7 in those. And so 35 points was their largest margin of playoff loss in the history of a very, very strong program.
Wow.
In fact, I even did a little research, went back to the IHSA, and in every game they've played since '96, which is 282 games, they've been beaten by 35 twice, and they lost 35-0 to Mount Carmel in 2010, and 42-7 to Loyola in 2016. So basically, Washington's win over Providence 35. Not only did it come in the playoffs, which is impressive, that's Providence's ties with their worst loss in 22 years.
Jeez.
So, yeah, they put the boot to them. So
Yeah.
My just one thing was a quote from Farmington coach Toby Vallis on Hayden Brott. He would have cut off his finger. He would have cut his finger off to win today. And that kind of
interesting quote.
Yeah,
I didn't know. I edited that story on Saturday night, and I didn't know what to think of that quote. I was like, "That's good and bad." I think.
I mean,
We've done whatever it takes.
right? Yeah, exactly.
It's an interesting way to say I'll do whatever it takes.
Yeah, exactly. And that definitely
extreme.
stood out to me. But yeah, I mean, Farmington and Toby and Hayden, hats off to them. They had an incredible year.
Right.
All right, let's jump into the planning preview for the second round of the playoffs. We have five games involving metro and area teams. The first one in 6A, 7 seed Sacred Heart Griffin, 8-2, at 10-0 Washington, who is the 2 seed, 1 p.m. Saturday. In my research of SHG, they have the Sweetland brothers.
That's right.
Sophomore running back Alex, senior quarterback Sam. Against Quincy, Alex, the running back, went for 176 and 2 touchdowns. Sam, the quarterback, 187 passing with a touchdown, 42 rushing yards, and a rushing TD. So, last time these teams met was on a bitter cold Saturday following the Washington tornado.
Semifinal game. Down in Springfield. Yeah, and Springfield was such a class group. I mean, what they did for the town of Washington, feeding the kids and bringing things up, and just a really, as a Washingtonian myself, I mean, just earned a great deal of respect for the SHG program and what they did. And we have Dave Reynolds working on a story that'll be running this weekend about, I think, Washington. Jim Lindsley over at Lindy's is going to feed the SHG kids this Saturday.
That's great.
Part of the story, get some box lunches for them, and so they're going to come here and we're going to, 5 years later, kind of help return the favor. Right. But no, I mean, obviously these are 2 incredible programs who just meet at such a confluence of events with 5 years later and coming here and both. And I think Washington's favored to win this. I would say the same way SHG was favored to win down there that year. Great game. I honestly, SHG is a little different than what they've been in the past. Normally they've been such a pass-heavy. That's kind of what they were known for. And
right.
One of the reasons they'd had so much success in the 90s and 2000s is they were sort of doing things that other teams, they were doing the spread before the spread was cool. And now that's pretty much I mean, you see the spread all over the place now, but they do it with the ground and they do it with defense. They shut down Quincy's Iowa State commit running back. His name, Jarrell Brock. He had one big gain. I think he ended up with like 94 yards or something, but he had a big touchdown run late. But yeah, Washington's going to struggle to move the ball against them. And again, what we talked about last week, finding that balance and what they can do to shut down SHG, which I think they. Again, I was wrong about Providence, so I don't know. I don't see SHG able to score a lot of points against Washington. I really don't. They'll find ways to be balanced too, I'm sure. Knowing Ken Leonard, they can pass the ball, so it's just, and they will be forced to. I see Washington winning. I think will be a surprisingly low-scoring game. I mean, something like 21-7, 28-14 type of thing. And again, Washington just seems to not make mistakes. They really don't. That's what impresses me about them beyond the line play, and it just seems so tight. It's such a tight unit where they don't make mistakes. They control the clock. They play good defense. They're well coached. I mean, that's just all those things you want. And
everybody does their job.
That's right.
Other Metro game we have Princeville, the 1 seed, 10-0, going to Aurora Christian, 7-3, 4 p.m. Saturday. Aurora Christian, they needed 2 second-quarter touchdowns plus a late stop on defense to seal a win versus Anawan Weathersfield. I think getting to sophomore quarterback Ethan Hampton will be key for the Princes. I mean, the defense has shown what it can do all year.
Right, and it's certainly going to be tested. Like we mentioned earlier, the Aurora Christian is a team that's going to be able to throw the ball. Can throw the ball around the yard pretty well with that quarterback, and got some speedy receivers. That's a team that's coached by David Beebe, if you remember that, that name. Don Beebe was the coach.
Oh, really? I didn't know.
Now he stepped down, and so that's his brother, David Beebe, is now the coach, and so there's that connection. There's a Beebe as a receiver too. So I'm not sure which one, if that's a David's or Don.
Right.
I don't know. But that so they have that house of speed that Don has there too, and so there's some speedy receivers that Princeville is going to have to keep an eye on, and they're again their DBs have done a really good job this year of they haven't faced a whole lot of teams that could pass, but when they have, they've showed that they can handle that as well too. So yeah, that's Aurora Christian is a team that's played a lot of played some good competition. And Wheaton St. Francis, they were within a touchdown of Wheaton St. Francis, who's still playing in the 5A playoffs, and they beat pretty handily a Chicago Urban Prep Bronzeville team that's in the 4A playoffs and still going. So yeah, they've.
It's a tough matchup.
It is a tough matchup, but maybe seeing Anawan Weathersfield be able to play right with them at least, maybe that helps a little bit too. It's on the road, which is always a tough thing to go on the road, but that'll be a good test to see if Princeville can take that further step.
Yeah, again, it was a little bit like Metamora last week with Joliet and Washington with Providence. It's like, if Princeville wants to win a state title in 1A, they're going to have to beat a team like Aurora Christian. Whether or not it comes in the second round or the quarterfinals or the semifinals, these two are going to meet at some point.
Right.
These probably are two of, if you had to put the odds on, they were among the 3 or 4 teams in 1A that could win it, and now they're playing here in the second round.
Yeah.
Another Metro team, Eureka, they host 6 seed Monmouth Roseville, 8-2. 5 p.m. Saturday. Eureka waited so long for a home playoff game. They got 2 in a row.
29 years in between home playoff games, and now it's only 7 days, right, between their second one this year. So that's pretty exciting. They broke, they'd lost 10 playoff games in a row, but Eureka had before getting that win. They hadn't won since '84 in the playoffs, and so. That's pretty exciting for them to be in this position, and they're going to be tested with Monmouth Roseville again. As Jason Bachman, the coach for Eureka, kind of likened them to Fieldcrest, a team that's got a big line, a senior dominated line that has some good playmakers as well, and so he's similar to what them. He's got to use their speed. They're going to be outsized big time on the line and that kind of thing. So they're going to have to use that speed, get off the ball quick, and even like what Princeville needs to do and what Eureka is. Make those sustained long drives so you keep them right off the field. So that's always helps, and that's what Jason Bachman likes to do is make those good long drives, and so. So that their defense will be put to a test with that. We'll see if Eureka can go 10. The last time they won 2 playoff games was 1975.
Oh wow!
They went to the semifinals that year, and as did Princeville. And Princeville actually went to a championship game in '75.
That's right. That's right.
So we got two teams that are trying to make some more history.
We'll jump down a class to 2A. Number 5 Sterling Newman, 9-1 at 4 seed Illini West, 10-0. 2 p.m. Saturday. Illini West has a stable of backs. Michael Lord, Colton Sargent, Nick Voorhees, all with multiple touchdowns in the opening round.
Yeah. This is a team that from the beginning, game 1 of the season, they wanted to be like those Illini West teams of the past, and they've showed that they can be that way. I mean, they're running 400 yards a game or whatever, but talk about another traditional power again. Sterling Newman is just just year in and year out, they're right there, playing. If not playing for a title, or they're right there among the last one standing. So, great test for Illini West in that game.
Well, I think Sterling Newman's got to be thinking the same thing, though.
Right.
Oh man, we got to play Illini West in the second round,
right?
So they're both just steeped in tradition, both of them.
Back up to 3A, number 1 Byron, 10-0 at 9 seed Princeton. They're 7-3. That's a 1 p.m. Saturday game. All these games are on Saturday. Mm-hmm. Byron's wing T went for 538 rushing yards.
Yeah.
They had 3 guys with over 100 yards. Isaac Stickler had 198. Drake Snodgrass 141. Ricky Messling 101. Princeton's going to have their hands full.
They are. We just talked about teams that can run the ball. Yeah, Byron can run the ball. They've got 2 of those guys that have been over 1,000 yards for the season, and the third guy is almost there, so could be there by the end of this game. So they could have 3,000-yard rushers. They've been ranked number 1 in the state from, I think, week 1. All season they've been number 1 ranked. So certainly a big test for Princeton in that defense.
And then our the final 3A game, 15 Herscher, 6-4 at 10 seed Hall, 7-3, 1 p.m. Hall QB, Jimmy D'Angelo, wide receiver Stephen Brust. I think they make a good tandem for them. I think they hooked up a few times there in that 54-8 win over Chicago Clark.
Right. Yeah, D'Angelo, interesting. He didn't become a starter, I believe, till like week 7 or 8 this season. Because I don't know, I'm sure it was an injury issue or it was come out to play, but he was part of their state championship baseball team. Pitcher for them.
Yeah.
So they're playing well at the right time. Again, they had another one of those public league teams in the first round that now they got a tough matchup. Herscher's 6-4, I know, but that's a little bit deceiving, I think, because of their schedule.
Right.
But it's an interesting team in Hall, because anytime that you sort of make those types of changes late in the season, it just maybe you're not really the same team you were at the start of the season. So
before we hop down to our picks, all of our games this week, Saturday, is it just easier after week 1 to have, you're in the routine for a Saturday game and you just want to keep that, or?
Yeah, you normally don't see Friday. I asked Matt Troja about it actually when I did that story about that. You can play Friday anytime up to the state time. Obviously, the state title games are planned.
Right.
Have 1 through 4A are on Friday and 5 through 8 on Saturday. But up to the semifinal, if both teams agree, you can still play on Friday. I don't.
Just that extra day of rest, or?
I guess. I don't know. And again, both teams have to agree to play on Friday. So obviously, as soon as one says no, some of it could have to do with also like other sports events, like teams in soccer matches. Might be some volleyball super sectionals on Fridays. There might be all those types of things. Saturday afternoon tends to be something that, unless you got a cross country team in state or something, like tend to be open times. So
travel can be a little bit longer.
Yeah.
I just think, especially after 9 weeks of playing on Friday nights, and granted, there are games that are on Saturday afternoons for homecomings and stuff, but you you think, kids staying up late on Friday, maybe, sleeping in on Saturday a little bit and just kind of getting out of the routine that,
especially if you played Friday in round one.
Right,
I think like a Princeville or something might want to say, no, let's play on Friday night.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if, again, I know how much you can really buy into this, but some of that prevailing wisdom is sort of like, oh, if it's a passing team, you want to, the weather has something to do with it, whether it's cooler at night, so that helps a team that maybe likes to pass or things like that. So a team like Aurora Christian might want to play on it for Friday night, as opposed to on a Saturday. And Princeville played Friday. I don't know. I mean, I guess maybe that's something to pursue. Talk to some coaches about why they want to play.
And the teams, the times seem to be spread all out too. I mean,
well, the times they will. That is one thing the IHSA does tend to step in for.
Okay.
Like, for instance, if, let's say, I don't know if this is pure speculation. Let's not even use a team. Let's say Team A. Team A says, we want to play Friday night. Okay. And Team B says, no, we want to play on Saturday. Okay, well, we'll play on Saturday then, period. But then the Team A goes, okay, well, we want to play at 7 p.m. on Saturday then. And the team's like, well, no, we want to play at 1. So then Sam Knox may step in and say, okay, you're playing at 4. You're playing at 5, and you split the difference.
Okay.
Or he'll listen to both sides. He'll listen to the cases like, why do you want to do this? If it's for a team function or something, or for a school function, like, oh, there's a dance or there's a thing, he might lean more toward, okay, well, they have a dance going on at night. Let's play at 1 or play at 2, and maybe push it to a later afternoon time or something. So he takes all those things into consideration, and the IHSA makes a decision with the time. So
okay, that's interesting because I mean, like
a 4 o'clock.
Right.
A specific example I remember in the past was Marion was playing Richwoods in a quarterfinal, I believe, and Richwoods wanted to play on Friday night. Marion wanted to play on Saturday afternoon. Pushed it to Saturday, kind of the exact same thing I was talking about, and then it ended up being a 5 p.m. game on Saturday because it was like they couldn't agree. So I was like, okay, we'll split the difference and do that.
Okay. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Very interesting. All right, on to our final 2 segments. The first one, picks for
Washington. I want Washington.
Okay. Well, let me recap last week. Last week, Wes and myself, we both went 0-4.
The playoffs.
Stan, you went 2-2. Stan, since you won last week. We'll start with
2-2.
Yeah, 2-2. 500. We'll start with SHG and Washington. Give me your pick. Tell me why.
I'm gonna go Panthers. I'm gonna go Panthers again. I mean, you gotta. I mean, they gotta be on such a the momentum and just really how well they played on Saturday last week, and just keeping that thing going. And again, we've talked about all year about the balance that they have across the board. So, and that defense is tough to stop or tough to get anything off of. So,
right.
Yeah, let's go with Washington.
Yep, Washington.
Wes?
Washington.
Yeah,
it's, and again, this isn't. They're not going to be lacking focus. Not saying that they would against any other opponent, but SHG's another traditional power where I don't know. I mean, if a team like they would be going to Quincy, I suppose, if Quincy had beaten SHG, but I don't know. I mean, when it's a traditional opponent, that tends to kids to really put that little extra level of focus on prep, and a focused, prepped Washington team that's off a 35-0, an impressive 35-0 win over Providence is going to be tough to beat.
I'm going Washington too. I have to imagine a lot of those juniors and seniors are wearing their JFL jerseys in the crowd 5 years ago when, watching Casey Danley and all those guys. So, yeah, I'm going Washington. Stan, back to you. Princeville at Aurora Christian.
Man, that's one of those. Could go. I can see it going either way. I mean, Aurora, a Christian, tough place to go. Princeville, but think I'm going to go with the Princes. I think they saw again, as mentioned before, playing Forreston last year was such an eye opener for them to know what you got to do at this level, and so they've really pushed for this level, and I think they're going to see that through on Saturday, and have the defense to be able to keep them from, Aurora Christian from really throwing the ball all over the place. So, going Princes.
I think I've been convinced. I was going to pick Aurora Christian. I don't know. I don't know. And then he brought up the field goal kicker too. I'm envisioning a 21-all or something, and Princeton's going down and got to kick.
What was that kicker's name again?
Sam Harshberger.
So Sam, sorry, you're gonna have a big kick coming up on Saturday, tied to 21-all, and you're gonna kick it like a 45-yard field goal to win it. So Princes.
I'm writing down Princeville, too. I think, not to put too much stock into it, but they saw how tough Anawan Weathersfield, like you mentioned, Stan, had played Aurora Christian, and that maybe give them a little bit of extra confidence or. Okay, we have a bonus, as we always do. Just one this week. Monmouth Roseville at Eureka. Stan?
You're going to start with me, huh? Yeah.
You're the winner, the 500 winner.
You gotta make Stan pick for and against his own teams.
This is a 50-50 game too. I think I'm still going to go Eureka. I think that it's a very talking with Jason Bachman, talking about Fieldcrest and being very similar to Fieldcrest, and then they were able to be able to move that and get off the ball quick enough to counteract those big boys up front, and just the playmaking ability that Martin has. I'm going to go with the Hornets moving on.
All right. Wes, how about you?
Ditto. I think it's going to be a lot closer it's going to be a low-scoring, close game, I think. Similar to the Wilmington score with Monmouth. Monmouth, I think, is going to try to – honestly, I think they're both going to try to shorten the game. I think Eureka is going to go against what it wants to do and maybe try to slow it down. And Monmouth, that's going to be their MO, I think, is to just shorten it, win it with defense, get a turnover, win a 14-10 game like they did last week. And Eureka, I think, might have a few too many playmakers, though. They'll steal a touchdown, a big touchdown for Martin, or a special teams touchdown or something that really breaks the game for him, I think.
I'm going Eureka. I think playing at home again. I have to imagine the atmosphere will be unbelievable.
Right.
So our final segment is our PJ Star Fantasy Football. Wes annihilated the field. 82.4 points. Thanks to Matt Martin, who had 35.8. He had 160 passing with a touchdown, 128 rushing with 2 touchdowns. Adam Snedden, get this, 179 and 4 touchdowns for 41.9 points. And then all of us had Josiah Mieneman. He had 47 reception yards, 4.7 points. I was second, 45.35. Caleb Fisher gave me 31.75. He had 111 passing with a passing touchdown. He had 92 rushing, a rushing touchdown, and a 2-point conversion. Dash Anderson had 89 yards total, 79 on the ground, and he caught a pass for 10 yards, 8.9 points. I also had Josiah Mieneman, 4.7 points. Stan, you had Thomas Hall, who gave you 11.35. He had 155 passing with a passing touchdown and 6 rushing yards. You also had Dash with 8.9 and Josiah with 4.7. Wes, the winner. Give us your quarterback for second round.
Jimmy D'Angelo at a Hall.
Jimmy D.
I feel like gonna have a tough matchup. They're gonna have to throw it a little bit to win that game. So I like Jimmy.
Stan, who's your quarterback?
I'm going Caleb Fisher.
Okay.
Nice.
I'm going Caleb Fisher. Nice one in the first round. Keep it going in the second.
All right. I'm going Matt Martin. Despite maybe a little bit more of a conservative game plan this week, I would have to believe that he'll still either lean one way or the other.
Right. He's similar to Fisher in a way, where no matter the game script, he tends to shine because he's sort of the head of the snake, so to speak. So,
Stan, let's bounce back to you. Who's your running back?
I'm going with Sneddon this week.
Probably a pretty safe bet. Wes, who's your running back?
Nick Voorhees out of Illini West.
Nick Voorhees. Okay.
I think they're going to have to. Hopefully, he tends to be the one that leads the stable, the lead horse, so to speak.
Right.
So, and expect a big game out of them. Sterling Newman's tough, but Illini West really doesn't. I mean, they're just going to run. They're going to run it until they can't run it anymore. So.
Right. Yep.
I'm going Adam Stedden as well, for obvious reasons. But I think even if they do, the Aurora Christian defense is going to key on him. I think he'll still be okay.
Yeah, Aurora Christian tends to not shut teams down necessarily. They do like to win shootouts.
Points.
So
they've given up points this year. Yeah,
it'll be interesting to see. And that's kind of why one of the reasons I like Princeville. I do think they can. I think they'll do a bit better job at shutting down Aurora than Aurora does at shutting them down. So,
Wes, let's go back to you for a wide receiver.
I'm gonna go with Cole Ludolph. I think again. I don't know. Maybe I've been wrong. I keep waiting for Washington to have to pass the ball to win, and they haven't yet. Maybe this is the week.
Yeah.
And Cole, if they do, if SSG puts him in a spot where Caleb's got to throw it, his favorite target is Mr. Ludolph. So,
Stan, how about you? Wide receiver?
That's who I've got too. Ditto for me.
I have Cole as well. So that is 3 Coles for wide receiver. Well, second round coverage includes what we have: Dave Reynolds at Washington. We
Dave
have
Minion in Eureka.
Dave Minion in Eureka.
The Rivermen guys are going to be going over the river to watch the Hornets.
Stan and I will be handling state cross country.
That's right.
All right.
So be sure to follow us on on Twitter at PJ Star Sports. Join the conversation. #PGS Preps. Anything else, gentlemen? No?
We're good.
Good. Okay. For sports editor Wes Huett, small school football beat writer Stan Morris, our producer Matt Dayhoff, I'm your host Adam Duvall. Bye for now.